Welcome everyone to Communications 273, Professional Presentations. My name is Sister Graywall. Here's a little bit about me. I received a bachelor's degree in Communications and Marketing from Brigham Young University in Provo, and then I went on to receive a master's degree in Organizational Leadership from the University of San Diego. My career began in advertising, where I spent time as an account manager working on global brands, such as IBM, Arby's, Subaru, Marriott, Hyatt, and some other food groups such as Wolfgang Puck and Red Brick Pizza. After advertising, I went to school to study leadership, and now I run my own company called Talent Catalyst. We focus on career performance within millennials, and I also play a triad role as a facilitator of corporate content, a coach, both a life coach and an executive coach for people trying to make decisions about both their lives and their careers, and I'm also a change consultant. So I help manage the people side of the business anytime an organization is undergoing significant change, such as a merger and acquisition or perhaps a new software implementation. I grew up in the city by the bay and feel so lucky to have been in its natural beauty. I enjoy fitness and being outside. I love cycling. I love tennis. I love skiing in Tahoe. I loved skiing when I was in school at BYU. And I like being active. And I miss San Francisco for those reasons. However, I do still stay active where I currently live, which is New York City. As you can see from this slide, there's a lot to do in New York, and it's all up to you to decide what your preference is. In the bottom left-hand corner, you will see Central Park. I live right next to Central Park, just around the corner from the Natural History Museum. If any one of you have seen Night at the Museum with Ben Stiller, that's the museum. I'm a big baseball fan. However, I'm not a huge Yankees fan. Please don't judge me. I stick to my San Francisco roots on that one. I'm a lover of pizza and food. I think that living in New York without loving these things is kind of a tragedy. I love sports, as you can see, with the Knicks logo there. I absolutely love the Brooklyn Bridge. I think it's significant to the history of New York. And last but not least, my favorite piece of New York is Broadway. I love musical theater, and I love seeing shows. There are some things about New York that I don't love, but we put up with it for all the things you saw on the previous slide. Every morning, there are 8.4 million New Yorkers in New York City, and we all try to slam our bodies into the subway to see who can make it to work on time. We also have rats as neighbors in New York, and the only part that we're really concerned about is getting them out of our apartments. We have them on our subways, we have them on our streets, we have them in our parks. They're pretty much everywhere except where you don't want them to be, which is in your apartments. We have a lot of garbage in New York City, which perhaps is why we have a lot of rats, but we have no alleys to put the garbage in like you may have in Rexburg or wherever you happen to be sitting at this moment. So we're used to seeing garbage adorn our sidewalks, and we just kind of get used to it. And last but not least, we have some pretty harsh weather conditions, and you may, depending on where you are right now, but the only difference is when you slip and fall, and every New Yorker has a tripping story, when you slip and fall, you usually fall in front of hundreds of people, which makes for a really good story when you get into your office. Here's a picture of my family. I have one niece and two nephews, so that's three grandkids for my parents that are front and center there. This picture was taken at my cousin's wedding in Northern California. And my brother's there on the left, and my sister-in-law, Casey, is right there as well. I want to speak to you about your opportunity to go to BYU, Idaho. It's a unique opportunity, and it's one that I learned about because I'm not an alumni at BYU, Idaho, but I am of Provo, and I was really intrigued when I learned about Idaho's unique mission to develop disciples of Jesus Christ, who are leaders not only in their homes, but the church and communities. I want to bring your attention to point number 3, in relationship to professional presentations. I really do believe that preparing students like yourself for lifelong learning, employment, and for your roles as citizens and parents is heavily linked to how successful you currently are and will be to presentations generally. Presentations happen in all different forms. They happen in our body language. They happen in the tone of our voice. They happen in eye contact. They happen in the ways that we present ourselves. And when it comes to professional presentations, all of these components play a role. Let me walk you through what the course will be covering generally. Number 1 is moving from the classroom to the boardroom. This is why the course is called Professional Presentations. Presentations that we've perhaps put together in college transform quite dramatically when it comes to putting them together for private sector, public sector, and government presentations. Also, we will discuss the importance of knowing your audience and landing a successful presentation. Audience plays a huge role into how we prepare and plan and deliver our presentations, which brings me to the third point. Successful presentations are very focused on strategy from the beginning. So there's a 4-phase process when it comes to creating a presentation. The first is planning, the second is creating, the third is design, and last but not least, delivery. All 4 of these play a major role into how a presentation goes. And last but not least is number 4, knowing your setting. We'll be talking a lot about the environment that makes or breaks a good presentation. And you'd be amazed at the little and large things that make up an environment. Everything from the lighting to the sound to the room space to the setup to how the actual audience members are set up from a listening perspective when they come in. What are their expectations? What are their intentions of being there? What are your expectations as the presenter? What is your intention? What message do you want to leave? So there's a lot of strategy behind what makes a successful presentation. And often the presentation that looks the most natural and the most simple has had the most preparation attached to it on the back end. So with all that said, I'm looking forward to teaching you, and I do want you to believe that I think that you've got this as BYU Idaho students. I think it's absolutely critical, and I think that no matter where you are in this stage of your presentation skills, that there are ways to improve them, and that you will be an enormous success as you take this course. Thank you, and talk to you soon.